Hyundai officially announced the Ioniq 6 and showed the preview of design and a few of the specs that it has, so let's go ahead and take a look at what it has to offer. If you guys saw my Ioniq 5 video last month, then you guys would know I mentioned the Ioniq 6. Now, we were unsure when the official announcement was going to come from Hyundai in terms of availability and stuff like that for Ioniq 6, but it looks like Hyundai has revealed that it is going to be a 2024 model, available early spring 2023. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like. Now, the Ioniq 6 design is inspired by the Hyundai Prophecy EV concept released several years ago. So it's nice to see that the Ioniq 6 takes a lot of those design elements and puts it into a production vehicle. Hyundai calls it a streamliner with mindful interior design. Now, it definitely looks very interesting from the outside. I definitely like it the more I look at it. It definitely was a little polarizing at first, but I'm glad Hyundai has chosen to keep their Ioniq vehicles unique. Each one doesn't look like the other one, and that sounds like the plan for the future designs as well. Now, one of the things with design is actually the aerodynamics. Now, I'm not sure if this is the lowest for Hyundai or the lowest in any production vehicle. I would assume lowest for Hyundai. But it has a coefficient of drag of just 0.21, so this should really help with the range, even if it uses the same battery pack and motors and everything that the Ioniq 5 offers. Now, in terms of any hints of estimated range for the Ioniq 6, there's actually a disclaimer on the Hyundai website that says they're targeting or estimating themselves about 340 miles with the SE rear-wheel drive version, which I assume will be the large battery with the rear-wheel drive only configuration. So that's about 10% or a little bit more than 10% more than the longest range on the Ioniq 5. So that is definitely a big improvement, and that's probably a lot to do with the aerodynamics of the Ioniq 6. And to help with the aesthetics and aerodynamics of the exterior of the Ioniq 6, Hyundai says there is active air flaps at the front, wheel gap reducers, and optional slim digital side mirrors. Now, we've seen digital side mirrors offered overseas, and I'm not sure that's going to come to the US, as the Ioniq 5 actually has digital side mirrors as options as overseas. So I'm not sure that's a US bound option or feature, but it's definitely cool to see that Hyundai is continuing the design with these digital side mirrors. They say that the Ioniq 6 uses over 700 parametric pixels that are also found in the Ioniq 5. That creates for a very unique look in the aesthetics and everything like that. So definitely cool to see that there is more of these parametric pixels continuing on with the Ioniq lineup. And they also say that there are sustainable materials applied throughout, reflecting a commitment to clean mobility values. So some of the sustainable interior materials on the Ioniq 6, depending on the trim level, include the eco-processed leather seats, the recycled PET fabric seats, the Bio TPO skin dashboard, the Bio PET fabric headliner, Bio paint derived from vegetable oils, and recycled fishing net carpet. The latter is a first for the Ioniq brand. So that's pretty cool to see all that stuff being renewable and recycled here on the interior of the Ioniq 6. So that's nice to see that they are using sustainable and renewable resources here on the inside of the interior. And Hyundai says since they're taking a customer-centric direction with the designs of these vehicles, that they offer designs for diverse lifestyles rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. And the Ioniq 6, just like the Ioniq 5, is built on the Hyundai Electric Global Module Platform, or E-GMP. So this allows for a completely flat floor for the interior of the space, and also allows for maximum passenger space on the interior of the cabin of the Ioniq 6. So it's nice to see that there is a good interior amount of space on the inside, because that is something that I think a lot of people would appreciate. It looks like the interior of the Ioniq 6 offers the dual 12-inch digital cluster as well as the infotainment system, just like the Ioniq 5. It offers a bridge-type center console that is convenient and generous for in-car storage. It also has up to 64 colors of ambient lighting on the inside, with a 4-dot interactive pixel light on the steering wheel to enable easy communication between the driver and the vehicle. Now, Hyundai has actually removed the buttons from the front door panels to provide more breathing room and more storage. There's transparent accents on the crash pad, the door mat pocket, and console lower cover, further accentuating the sense of spaciousness and uniqueness. Now, not having any buttons on the front door panels is going to be a big change of pace here in the United States. Now, obviously, there's sports cars and exotic cars that might not have any buttons on the door panels, but for a mainstream production car, especially like an EV, not having any buttons on the door panels is going to be pretty different for most people. So taking a look at some of the press pictures that were provided by Hyundai, I definitely have to say, I actually didn't really care for the design at first, but like I said, the more I look at it, the more I think it's actually a pretty good design. Now, the side profile is a little wonky, but I think that's just because of the type of vehicle it is with an EV. Obviously, you don't have to have an engine in the front of the vehicle. So that makes the front nose of the vehicle a little bit shorter than maybe we're used to, especially with like rear wheel drive sedans and stuff like that. The back end definitely has a very unique look, and that spoiler right above the trunk lid is definitely a very cool touch on the design. And overall, I think the wheel designs actually, I don't mind it. It actually looks pretty good. I definitely like the white color here shown in several of the pictures. I think that's a good color for the car. And obviously on the interior, it's cool that they show a lot of the pictures with the ambient lighting active, because ambient lighting is always cool on the interior of vehicles, in my opinion. But it definitely has a lot of Hyundai traditional design cues with the dashboard that's all like one piece with the dual 12-inch screens. And I'm sure as we get hands-on and more photos of the interior of the vehicle, we'll see a lot of Hyundai elements that we've come to know in the past. So to wrap things up here, I want to do a little bit of speculating, because there's been some ideas and rumors thrown out there in the Hyundai world that the Hyundai Sonata is going to be gone after the 2023 model year. So this is the perfect spot for Hyundai, I guess, to introduce a new EV in the midsize sedan segment, because there aren't a lot of production midsize sedans out there at a relatively affordable price point in the current market. So this is what Hyundai, I think, is doing. If the Hyundai Sonata does go away after the 2023 model year, this will step in its place about the same time that the Sonata is going away. So it definitely makes sense from a business perspective, and replace them with the EV. So obviously we won't be seeing the Ioniq 6 for probably pushing about a year from now. So I won't be able to get hands-on and show you guys what it looks like on the interior unless I get some special invite to see a prototype or pre-production model or anything like that. I'm not holding my breath on that, but that would be pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think of the Ioniq 6 design and some of the features that were mentioned in this video down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. I think it's going to be a pretty good success for Hyundai, given they can keep the price point in a relatively affordable bracket. If you guys are new, I did a video on the Ioniq 5 and the top 5 unique features I found on that vehicle, so make sure to check that one out. The Ioniq 5 is definitely a very unique vehicle overall. So with all that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next video.